And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're almost at 345,000. So let's do it. Let's at least get to 350 by the end of the day. With your help, we can do it. So hit subscribe, watch, keep the comments coming, and share with a family member and a friend. Because as I say every day, the stupidity never stops. Now, look, after Trump's blunder on Monday with his Memorial Day remarks and his horrendous speech at West Point, that was over the weekend, he had to send in his pundits to distract the media. Karoline Leavitt went on Fox, and she spoke about how consumer confidence is right now at an all-time high. Play the clip.
That's right, Sean. There is good news today. Consumer confidence hit a record high, and also the highly respected pollster Matt Rasmussen showed that the majority of Americans view our country as heading on the right track under President Trump. This is a stark contrast to what that same polling showed under the previous disastrous administration led by Joe Biden.
Again, there's so much inaccuracy that's going on there, and I don't have a lot of faith in these pollsters. On top of that, just to give you a quick idea, the consumer confidence changes on a relative basis. And the reason it's up right now is because right now there is a belief that Trump and China are working and negotiating a deal. What happens when that deal doesn't come to fruition? What happens to consumer confidence when you go to your local big box store, your Walmarts, your Costco's, your Myers, or wherever, and you find that the items that you want to purchase is like what, 100 times more expensive? It's double the price plus. Meanwhile, she also goes on and she tries to convince Americans that Trump is literally committed to truth and transparency. I mean, really? How much money did Trump make off his meme coin dinner the other night? I'm curious. Who are the people that were there? I'm curious. Play the clip.
It seems like the administration is going back and getting to the bottom of some unfinished business.
Mm-hmm. Yes, all of those announcements coming from the FBI, Kash Patel, and of course our great Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is committed to the truth, Sean, just like President Trump and his entire administration, and committed to an unprecedented level of access and transparency that is led by President Trump at the White House every day. He takes questions from the press. He talks directly and honestly and candidly about the problems and the challenges he is solving, not just here at home, but also abroad. And he's demanding answers. And one of the things he is going to continue to push for answers on is who the heck was running the country over the past 4 years. And you just talked about it in your monologue, and I'm glad to hear it, because this is truly the greatest political scandal our country has ever seen. We had...
Again, the deflection is amazing. Now, I'm not going to disagree that I think the people that were surrounding Biden were really bad people, and I don't think that Biden was doing the job of the president. I think that the way they were protecting him was all wrong. But what Karoline Leavitt is saying right now is completely inaccurate and untruthful. In fact, we do not even know, other than a handful of people who are recognizable, like Lamar Odom, who was at that crypto dinner, the one that Trump flew in, 15 minutes later, he was out. No photos, no handshakes, no nothing. Meanwhile, Karoline also goes and she speaks about that we are, in fact, in trade negotiations right now with India and the EU. Play the clip.
For the trade talks, since you mentioned them, I was just going back and forth with our United States Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, who informed me that the Trump administration continues to be in intensive talks with India, and the president, of course, has applied very public pressure to the European Union so that they too can have a miraculous trade deal, just like we cut with Britain and our friends in the United Kingdom. So we continue to move forward in cutting good deals that put the American people and the American worker first.
Okay, let me stop and sort of give you a reality check. I think it's important. Right now, there has only been one trade deal, which isn't even papered, but in sum and substance, it's been discussed. And yes, Karoline is right. It happens to be with the United Kingdom. But Let me also turn around and say that one of the few countries that the United States has a trade surplus with, oh yeah, happens to be the United Kingdom. We are no closer with the EU or India or China or anybody else at this moment. In fact, they have zero. What happened to the 90 days, 90 deals rule? Yeah, right out the door. Meanwhile, here's a headline from Reuters about the dollar. In it, it turns around and it says, the euro could become the dollar's alternative. And that's from Lagarde, right? I mean, we're talking about replacing or having the world replace the greenback, the US dollar, for the euro. Doesn't sound like that's really on track for making America great again, now is it? Meanwhile, despite what's being reported, Leavitt again tries to claim that the Biden administration left the economy in the dust. Play that clip.
We had an economy that was left in the dust, but again, thanks to President Trump's pro-growth policies. And now we have the one big beautiful bill on its way to his desk. It's in the Senate now, being marked up and amended so it can go back to the House and then to the president ultimately for signature this summer. So we have.
Yeah. Again, there's so much inaccuracy that comes out of her mouth. Look, I get it, Karoline. I get it. I used to be involved in the promotion of those talking points memos, the ones that you're reading off of. I mean, again, how many times am I going to say she's really good at the job? The problem, though, is the job's not supposed to be about misinforming the American public. She goes on, of course, and tells Hannity that she watches CNN all day. Really? Play the clip.
DEI. My question is, why would they get one American taxpayer dollar, knowing that this is the case and also the case at a lot of other Ivy League institutions?
Well, that's a very good question, Sean, rooted in common sense. And I watched the left-wing cable media, CNN, on my television in the White House all day today, and they were up in arms over the president's common sense policy when it comes to federal funding for Harvard. And not a single one of those left-wing reporters can answer the question of why an institution that is pushing anti-American values with a $53 billion endowment should receive a single penny of taxpayer funds. And the
Okay, so I'm definitively not a left-winger. I'm just barely left of center. I'm a fiscal conservative and I'm a social moderate. But, Karoline, if you really must know why Harvard should be receiving those federal funds, because those federal funds don't go to Harvard. They're institutions that are affiliated to the Harvard program. Oh, yeah, like the Dana-Farber Cancer Research Center for Children. I mean, just to name one. Look it up. It's not a tough answer. And you should actually know the answer. But yeah, Sean Hannity's never going to push back against you. Shit, I know that better than anybody. I was on Sean's show almost every single day. And if I wasn't on his television show, I was on his radio show. As if you don't already know what the questions he's going to ask you. You're on the phone with him in advance where he's telling you. Now, look, you know that I'm critical of mainstream media. I think mainstream media sucks. And recently, Jake Tapper wrote a book. And he speaks about Joe Biden, the supposed cover-up that's being as bad as Watergate. Lara Trump told Fox News that Jake Tapper apologized to her. Really? When mainstream media starts apologizing to the Trump family, you know that we're doomed. Play that clip.
Lara, when did that apology come? And if you don't mind sharing with us, what did he say?
Yeah, Jake Tapper called me about 2 months ago, actually. And he said, I have this book coming out. And I know everybody's saying that I should apologize to you. I plan, whenever the book comes out, to go on TV and I will say, you were right and I was wrong. And I guess to Jake's credit, he did that. Now, Laura, I think the overarching thing here, though, is that the damage is done, right? We were so close to something so dangerous happening to this country. I mean, look at what actually happened. Look at the millions of illegal immigrants able to pour in. People are questioning now, who was actually in charge of this country. I guess whoever was in charge of the auto pen. we really have to think about what would have happened if Joe Biden would have been elected. These people would have swept his condition under the rug even more. And Jake Tapper saying that this is like a Watergate level type of situation. Now that he played a role in it, it feels a little bit too late to me. I do appreciate that he did keep his word, though, and come out and say that I was right.
Did he actually call you, or was the on-air dramatic apology, was that it?
No, he called me and said that he was going to do this. So then.
Okay, but he didn't actually apologize to you in a subsequent phone call. He said he was going. It's like so convoluted.
Yeah,
he said it's kind of
like that.
odd.
And then, as people were kind of ribbing him more, he said, "I told you whenever the book comes out." I guess it was May 20th.
Yeah,
I would come out and say it. So,
but
yeah, you know that we're doomed. Meanwhile, in other mainstream news, CBS reporter Scott Pelley, he spoke at the Wake Forest graduation, and in true MAGA fashion, they were literally up in arms that he criticized Trump. What I find is literally how hypocritical, after Trump's West Point speech last weekend, Dana Perino goes on and says that Scott Pelley shouldn't have used the stage as a policy platform. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you tell that to your president? Play the clip.
This is the crazy thing. First of all, who does he think he was asked to speak to?
Yeah.
Us? Trump? Who is his audience? This is what really gets me. These universities pay a lot of money for a speaker like that to come in and give because they want to invest in their students. They want to give. Does Wake Forest want this speech? You think this is the audience for this?
Yeah.
Those kids are sitting there going, I just worked my butt off for 4 years. I want to go to the bar. I have a party to go to. Let's get this show on the road. And why can't the commencement address be, guess what? You guys are going to do great. Here's my top 5 pieces of advice. You know what? I'll cut it down to 3 because I know you want to go get a beer. Here's 1, 2, 3. Good job. And you know what? Everybody would applaud. I do not understand this whole thing of going and using this as a policy platform. If he really wants to make that case, maybe make it to the person that's the head of the network that's trying to sell it.
Yeah, very good.
Hey, I got a great idea. Why don't you pass that same info to President Trump, who sat and spoke to the cadets at West Point, talked to them about yachts, about divorce, spoke to them about trophy wives. Yeah, it's exactly what the next group of leaders coming out of the finest military academy in the world want to hear. Trump's ramblings about his fat friend who ended up getting divorced and then ends up on a yacht with a trophy wife. Absolutely, right? That's the platform that everybody wants to hear. Listen, like I turn around and I say, share this with your friend. Help us to build a community so we can put an end to this stupidity. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.